All right. Three, two, one. Hey, everyone. This is Preston Zeller here today, and I'm with Mark Huffman of Sage Home Builders in Bend, Oregon. And we're going to be discussing a bit of how Mark went from really this kind of like traditional grief experience to elevating that to this personalized grief experience with this abstract art. And before I get ahead of myself, though, Mark, welcome. Why don't you just intro us and introduce yourself and just a little bit about your background?
Well, I'm a home builder and here in Central Oregon. I've been building for over 40 years. And so I just got really excited when Preston had mentioned about possibly doing a painting for my wife of over 40 years. She just recently passed away from Parkinson's with dementia. And it just seemed like a great way to honor her because he took some of her ashes. She was cremated and mixed that into the paint. And then, of course, did this wonderful painting for me and my family.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for sharing that. I know, in our earlier conversations, you revealed that you and, of course, Jen had a lot of like experiences in supporting local artwork when you guys were especially earlier on in your marriage. But like, if you could explain to me how you guys got into art.
So we've always been kind of into the arts, both from painting and music and like symphony, operas, etc. Three of our daughters, one's an opera singer, one was a ballet dancer, and the other one a musician. So we just love the arts. And of course, we've always had homes and have had a lot of artwork in our homes. So the idea of adding to that artwork sounded like just a great idea. So that's where we kind of got off with this painting.
Yeah. And if you don't mind, if you want to, I know the painting's kind of by you, if you want to raise it up a little bit, just so people can kind of see that one. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there it is. Do you want me to talk about it all, or are you going to talk about it?
Yeah. Feel free to talk about it. Yeah.
So Preston also interviewed me about colors and just the mood of the painting, about my wife Jennifer and the things that she liked. So we thought that the colors, like more of a fall type colors, would go good on this painting because those are all colors that Jennifer really liked. The oranges, the purples, just the blues, the yellows. So I just really feel like Preston did an excellent job of bringing all the colors as part of this painting. And then my wife had this incredible faith. She had been a Christian since she was a very young girl. And of course, our family has this wonderful faith as well. And so Preston brought crosses into the painting because we had four children together. So there's four crosses. The vertical members on the cross represent our children, Tiffany, Jared, Courtney, and Shelby. And the horizontal member of the cross represented me. And so I just thought that was really special. I didn't know exactly what Preston was going to do. I just mentioned about her faith. Jennifer was also a painter. She also painted. And Preston's mother, Jennifer's sister, also paints, and she's an interior designer. And so, in any event, I just thought it was a wonderful depiction of not only Jennifer, her faith, her children, her family, but then the colors. I just really liked the colors that he brought together in this painting.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing about that, Mark. And of course, mixed all throughout the background, various parts are her ashes, of course. So
yes, and so there's also a lot of texture on this painting, which you might not be able to see, but part of the texture, I think, had to do with her ashes and how it reacted with the paint. But Preston can tell me more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always a special part to be able to create that texture with something so personal, for sure. So, well, Well, yeah, I appreciate you sharing all that again. Let's talk about a bit, how this idea came about. I mean, as you mentioned, so, I mean, you are my uncle, so there's, full transparency there, but you weren't like super aware that I was, painting, were you?
No, but it quite frankly doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Preston, as I mentioned, his mother, my wife's sister, is an interior designer. She's just got a great eye for color and for everything that encapsulates interior design work on a home and exterior. And so when Preston said that he was painting, it really didn't surprise me at all because he's kind of a chip off the old block,
Yeah, for sure.
the mother block.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, and so I remember at the actually at after the memorial, we were all kind of hanging out up in Bend, of course, and I forget how exactly it happened, but I think we had just briefly talked about sort of transforming her ashes into this painting, right?
Yeah, you had mentioned that you had done it for your brother's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Preston's brother Colin passed away a couple years ago, unfortunately, and his
Mm-hmm.
wife Tina. Preston had painted a painting for Tina, and so that just really struck with me that I could have something that could help represent Jennifer in my home. And so when he mentioned what he had done for his brother's wife, it just seemed like a really good fit.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, of course um well, actually, let me take it back a step because you talked about was using the ashes, 'cause some people go through this process, right? And they want a like memorial painting, but not everyone uses ashes. So what kind of piqued your interest to want to use ashes in the artwork?
Well, unfortunately, my wife really, she wanted to be cremated, and so do I. And that was in our living trust. So I knew she
Mm.
wanted to be cremated, but she never really told me what to do with her ashes.
Yeah.
So as a family, with me and my four children and their spouses, we were trying to figure out what to do with her ashes. Now, this only took a very small bit of ashes. It doesn't take a
Mhm.
lot of ashes to put in a painting this size. And
Yeah.
she has a fairly good canister of ashes. So I believe the children are also going to want some of her ashes to do different things with them.
Hmm.
But I don't think they've really decided what all to do with them yet.
Yeah.
So since Jennifer really never told me what to do with her ashes, and then my nephew Preston brought up this, oh, how about a painting? And by the way, I am painting. I just thought it was a natural fit, and it solved my dilemma on what to do with her ashes. So now I'm kind of off the hook with her ashes, and now her children need to figure out what they want to do with, because I still have her ashes, and at some point we'll probably divide them up, and they'll do things with her ashes as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty common thing I run into, people 10, 20, 30 years later that's still in the kind of same container, and it hasn't transformed into something that's helpful beyond that, right? So it's really it's always a special thing. I mean, so how would you characterize like just, the, any kind of improvements in your life from having this kind of personalized piece? Like, how do how do you interact with it?
Well, when I first got it from you, and I opened it, it took my breath away, because I just thought it just almost, I mean, nothing's perfect, of course, but I thought it almost perfectly depicted, her life, her relationship with her kids, her love for her Lord and Savior. So I was just really taken back when I got it, Preston. I got to tell you,
Yeah.
even though I had some idea, maybe kind of that where you were headed with it, but I really didn't get to see it until you sent it to me and I opened it up, and it was quite emotional when I opened it up and I saw it. I mean, I texted you immediately and told you
Yeah.
what a wonderful job you did and how happy we were. So, and then I just really enjoy looking at it. It brings back a lot of really wonderful memories of Jennifer and her love for her children and her Lord. So it's just, very nice to be able to have it in my home and to reflect on it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. And, it's what's interesting about it is, years from now, you can look at it and it'll just keep striking up those different, memories that you have.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how would you characterize like the return on investment for you in getting a, personalized painting like this?
Well, I mean, you can't put a dollar amount on it, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Um, what I paid for it is, I mean, just again, the emotions that go along with just looking at it and bringing back those memories, priceless.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So, I mean, would you recommend others work with me on this kind of project?
Of course.
Yeah.
And yes, absolutely.
Yeah. In your own words, who do you think I'm a good fit for?
Well, I would think I mean, just about anybody, quite frankly. I mean, obviously, anybody who's lost anybody, or so that would be a wonderful fit. And then just if you like artwork, if they like artwork, I mean, just I've seen and through the process of you interviewing me for this painting, you showed me a lot of a lot of other art pieces that you had done. So I mean, they kind of sell themselves, in my opinion. I was really attracted to your style and and the type of painting that you do, and then of course, anybody who's lost a loved one would be somebody that would definitely want to consider this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that too. Well, let me ask you, kind of in a different way. Why do you think someone listening, let's say someone in grief, right? In this context, especially someone who's in grief and maybe they have ashes, maybe they don't, but they're searching for something that, is going to be helpful in that grief process. Why do you think someone listening should take action right now?
Well, just the same reason that I'm enjoying it, just to be able to see something that brings back those wonderful memories of your loved one. Um, I mean, at least with a painting, it's, up on a wall in your house. You can put it in a very, in an area of your home that you just go by all the time. So that basically every time you go by and look at it, it brings back all these wonderful memories. So
Yeah.
I can't really think of a better thing than a painting to depict your memories of a loved one, quite honestly.
Yeah. Well, how would you characterize it? Because it's different than, of course, just like a photograph, right? And I talk to people about this a lot and how this is, of course, different aesthetically than the photograph. How would you characterize the difference in like sort of impact it has versus looking at maybe an old photograph versus having this piece of art?
I mean, photographs are nice as well. There's no question.
Yeah.
The photographs and all the albums that we have showing Jennifer and with our family, those are lovely as well. But I don't know, a painting, like it isn't a photograph. It doesn't really show her face anywhere. And it just kind of leaves you up to your imagination. And that's what art does, really. It kind of brings you to a place where you see her in this painting, but you don't have to see her face. I just see her life in the painting. And I think a lot of times that's just what art does. It kind of depicts a certain mood and so that's what this has done, at least for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, and it is, every single one of these in art, of course, is can be very personal, and people extract different things out of it. But yeah, so what would be your number one piece of advice for, I guess, people that are just going through grief in general?
Well, obviously, find a support group, whoever that is. Fortunately, I had this really, really big, large family, both Jennifer's side of the family and my side of the family. We both had 4 siblings, lots of kids, lots of grandchildren. So we had tons of support. But I mean, when you're grieving, it's such a personal thing. And even with all the support, it's just really quite difficult. So
Yeah.
I would say this helped me through the process. It's a process. Grieving is a process. This helped me through that process. You interviewed me, us talking about her life, what she liked, her faith, the colors, everything. That's all the process of dealing with your grief. So that I'm very thankful for, Preston. It helped bring me, helped just tell me through the process. And now I've got a wonderful depiction of her life, her family, somewhere that I can just go by and admire it.
Yeah. No, those are really beautifully spoken. Yeah, and what's interesting about us going through that process too is I remember a lot of things you shared. I had never heard. It's just when you get into those like kind of deep fond memories you have, it really kind of peels away, the onion, so to speak, of what is really was important, what mattered to you, and the things that kind of capture the essence of somebody. So yeah, it was really a pleasure to go with you through that process. Where can people best find you online, or is it just, Sage Home Builders?
Well, that company, if they were interested at all in anything that I'm doing in Central Oregon, but we build custom homes on resorts all over Central Oregon, and we've been doing it for over 20 years. And then I've been in the business for over 40 years. So just we're home builders, and I've made a really good living here in this area. I just love Oregon and Central Oregon, the beauty, the mountains, the lakes, the rivers. It's just a wonderful place too to raise a family and children.
And fly fishing too, right?
Oh yeah, I'm a fly fisher.
Yeah, so we can't conclude this interview without mentioning what an avid fly fisher you are. Yeah, well, Mark, I super appreciate your time, and again, really honored just to be able to do this painting for you. And yeah, I'm just I'm super happy that you're gonna get to enjoy this for years to come, and your family too as well. So.
Well, thanks again, Preston. I really appreciate all your work and all your efforts, and they brought many, many fond memories to us in representing this wonderful lady that I was married to for over 40 years.
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, thank you very much. Thanks everyone for listening, and yeah, have a good day.